All right, I can see quite a number of people already joining in. All right, I can see quite a number of persons already joining in. Welcome, 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 welcome to the February edition of the Women Techsters Open Day. We are thrilled and glad and elated to have you here. We will be having our conversations via the chat section. So please just let us know where you're joining us from, what your name is, what country you're joining us from, what expectations you have for this webinar So please just let us know your name, where you're joining us from, what expectations you had when you were signing up for the webinar, and some of the things that you would like to take home with you as you join this webinar. Yes, so I can see some people are already typing or some. Okay, I can see Freda from Nigeria. Hi, Freda from Nigeria. I can see Abigail from Lagos, Nigeria. I can see Oluwani Femi from Akure. That's all the way from Ondo State. I can see Ibukon Loa. All right, I want to assume that it's not just Nigerians that are on this call. So if you are not from Nigeria, okay, I can see Margaret from Kenya. Also, one of our speakers also from Kenya. I can see Ifeoluwa. So I would like to know, as you're joining us, what are some of the expectations that you have for this session? What are some of the things that you are looking to learn? I can see Joylene from Kenya. I can see Hawa from Uganda. Awesome. I don't know if I apologize if that's not very good to pronounce your name, from Madagascar. I can see Brenda from Kenya also, Nuria from Ghana. Yes, Gaun from Botswana. How's Botswana today? So I'd just like to hear from those of us who have joined so far. What's something that you'd like to learn in this session? What's something that you were thinking about while we're signing up for this webinar, that okay, I actually want to come here and learn this? So just like to hear some expectations, and then we'll move in. So I can see Freda saying, I look forward to learning and networking. Awesome. I can see Diane from Rwanda. Awesome, awesome. So I'd like to hear from us, what are some of the expectations that you have joining this session that you'd like to take home? I can see Maribel saying, I look forward to have clarity in the transition process. Awesome, that's great. You are definitely in the right place. I can see Margaret saying, I look forward to learn and start my tech journey to be able to interact and learn from women in tech, grow and solve community problems through technology. That is amazing. Abigail says, it's nice to be here. I'm hoping to learn something new from the beautiful ladies on the call. Yes, they really are. And the dynamics of transitioning into a new industry. Awesome. I can see Kechuku saying, I look forward to being motivated and sticking with tech, understanding the concepts and feel one with it as a woman. That's very wonderful. Lydia says, I look forward to making money. Well, that's definitely something to look forward to. So welcome everyone. Once again, like I said, this is the Women Techsters Open Day, February edition, and we are thrilled and elated to have you all here. We have all of our speakers already on the call, and I'll just quickly run through information about the Women Techsters and about the Women Techsters and the programs under the Women Techsters. So the Women Techsters, the Women Techsters is an initiative of Tech for Dev, and it's an experiential learning upskilling program, and it's for young girls and women within the ages of 16 to 40 across Africa, right? And we have 5 sub-programs under the Women Techsters Initiative, 2 of which are divided under the advocacy component, the Tech Girls Advocacy Drive, which would actually be starting across 20 African countries tomorrow. Yes, we'll be having advocacy throughout the month of March in commemoration of the International Women's Day. We also have the Women Techsters Open Day, which is where we all are right now. And it's a monthly virtual program where we get to learn from speakers, seasoned women in tech across Africa who can share from their wealth of knowledge about getting into tech, starting up a career in tech. And of course, we have the Women Techsters Bootcamp, which is an experiential training. It's for 3 weeks. And the Women Techsters Bootcamp is focused on the Women Techsters Bootcamp is focused on teaching you or training you across 5 different learning tracks. We have product management, product science, cybersecurity, data science and analysis, and software development. Yes. And of course, we have the fellowship, which is a more intensive program. It's a 1-year program divided into 6 months of training and 6 months of job placement. And there are 8 different learning tracks. The 5 of the bootcamp, inclusive of blockchain, blockchain, mobile development app, and 3D animation. Yes. So, and then we have, of course, the Women Textiles Masterclass, which is for a much more advanced audience. It's for women in tech for about 6 months to 5 years. And it runs for 2 days where we take a deep dive into a particular learning track just to be able to understand prevailing problems there. So I would like to quickly move on in this session. And I have the honors of one of my senior colleagues on the call. Her name is Funsho, and she would be reading the welcome address on behalf of our Executive Director, Oladiro Oladipo, who is unavoidably absent. Hi, Funsho. Good evening. Can you hear me? Are you here?
Hi, Orelua.
Yes,
Hi, thank you
hi.
so much
Yeah, welcome over
for
to
giving me
you.
the floor. Standing on existing protocol, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have been given the opportunity to take the opening remark on behalf of the Executive Director of Tech for Dev, Oladibura Oladipo. Um, really excited. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you to the speakers as well in advance for taking this opportunity to share their stories as well. So thank you for joining the February 2024 edition of our Virtual Women Texas Open Day program. We're extremely elated to have you, wonderful women from across Africa, join us today to learn about how to pursue your interest in technology. I would especially like to also welcome you all as prospective women texters who have joined us today to learn about starting a career in tech through our Open Day program. I would quickly run through some recent highlights from our Women Texas program and Tech for Dev in general. So last month, Tech for Dev launched the second edition of the Africa's largest digital skilling challenge called, called the Digital for All Challenge. This competition is designed to reward self-development and encourage the acquisition and use of digital skills through competitive incentive model. Our target is to reach 2 million Nigerians with an opportunity for them to compete to win a share of the total prize of 150 million naira and other consolation prizes. The learning phase for this particular challenge started on February 6th and is now open to secondary school students, youth, civil servants in Nigeria, You can follow us across all our social media platforms to keep yourself up to date and also to see how you can benefit from the program. Last month, we ran a call for application for Women Textiles Bootcamp code 3.3, and we received 8,279 applications from women across 22 African countries. After a rigorous screening process, 2,474 beneficiaries were admitted into the program. And in the last 2 weeks, the beneficiaries have been receiving training in data analysis, product management, cybersecurity, product design, and software engineering. If you were unable to join this cohort, don't worry, we have good news for you. The call for application for bootcamp cohort 3.4 is ongoing, and you still have a chance to apply and take the bold step to become a woman in tech. So since the inception of the Women Texas Fellowship, we have actually recorded numerous success stories of women, mothers, daughters, wives, students, and workers who have defied the odds and paved the way for themselves in the ever-evolving technology space. And as such, last April, we opened the call for application for the 2024 Women Texas Fellowship and recorded a reach of over 122,913 women across Africa. After carefully reviewing 7,846 valid applications, we successfully admitted 2,014 women into the fellowship program. Furthermore, this year we launched into 7 new African countries, which, in addition to our previous 15 countries of operation, will sum up to 22 countries. They are Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Egypt, DR Congo, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Madagascar, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Algeria, South Sudan, Morocco, Angola, Mozambique, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Rwanda, Gambia, and Botswana. The fellows are currently rounding off their third month of training and preparing for their community advocacy project, with some fellows already landing jobs halfway through their journey. Women Techsters is made possible through our organization, Tech for Dev. And Tech for Dev is a non-profit organization that creates access to decent work and entrepreneurship opportunities, and also platform for Africans through digital and technology skills empowerment and advocacy. Our vision is to equip Africans with digital and life skills that foster economic prosperity, financial freedom, and sustainable development. Women Textile is an initiative of Tech for Dev that aims to bridge the digital divide between men and women in the technology ecosystem. Through our pilot program, we enabled almost 3,000 women between the ages of 16 to 40 across Nigeria over a 3-year period to ignite interest in pursuing careers and businesses in technology. Driven by the success stories of numerous women from Nigerian Women Texas program like Fatima, Tomi, Patience, amongst others, we carved a new ambition and dream to replicate this model across Africa, providing more women access to opportunities to launch careers and businesses in technology. Our dream by 2030 is to reach 5 million women in Africa by empowering them with the knowledge and skills to partake in the technology industry in Africa and the world at large. We believe that empowering change from women across Africa, as well as providing them opportunities to access employment and entrepreneurship, would help achieve a 50-50 male to female ratio balance in the technology space. The Women Texas Open Day is a monthly virtual program organized for women across Africa to learn about leveraging the power of technology to start and advance their careers and create and technology enabled businesses. The Open Day is an opportunity for women to interact with other successful women who have built careers or businesses in technology over the years and who will share their personal experiences, speak about possible career paths and business opportunities, and help women appreciate the importance of acquiring digital and deep tech skills in this digital age. I would love to appreciate everyone for being here today to commence your journey to become women in tech and to say a special thank you to all our guest speakers, Mercy, Princess, Elizabeth, and our moderators for taking out time of their very busy schedules to share stories of their journey as women in tech. I look forward to a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a good time.
Thank you so
Thank you,
very much,
Aralua.
Poncho. Thank you so very much for that. We are grateful for that. And just to corroborate some of the things that Poncho just told us, we'll be sharing a short video now that highlights some of we're sharing a short video now that highlights some of the things that we've been able to do with our Women Techsters fellowship as a whole.
My name is Fatima Ahmed. I'm from Ilorin, Kwara State. I studied chemistry from the University of Ilorin, but now I'm a woman in tech. Getting a job in Nigeria is very difficult. After my National Youth Service program, I was at home for like 5 to 6 months, writing CVs, applying for jobs, and the highest I got was callbacks, which was very frustrating. I was talking to a friend about the difficulties of getting a job in Nigeria, and he was telling me about the opportunities in tech. Coincidentally, at that time, another friend of mine was telling me about how she went to the Nigerian Women Techsters program, where she learned how to code and build websites. Seeing what she could do, I was motivated to apply for the Nigerian Women Techsters program. The training was for 12 weeks. I learned technical skills, building websites, writing codes. I also learned soft skills, communicating effectively, working in teams. It made me more effective in what I do today. Coming for the training, I just felt that, okay, I'll just learn some new skills, then have to go back home to apply for other jobs. But during the training, I started getting a lot of job opportunities, and here I am today. I have a good job, and I am glad I took the bold step to come for the Nigerian Women Techsters training. I currently work as a technical support engineer at Techsters, where I provide cloud-based solutions. I want to use this opportunity to encourage other young women out there who are looking for jobs to empower themselves with tech skills and take advantage of opportunities like this.
With partners like Microsoft, we've been able to train over 2,475 women in coding and deep tech skills across 12 states in Nigeria. And all this training was done for free. Over the next 10 years, we will train 5 million women across Africa by 2030, and we're looking for partners who could join us on this journey.
All right, I hope we're able to see that, and I'd just like to hear from some people in the chat. How was that for you? Were you able to watch the video? What's something that you gained from that? Just checking the chat to see for any responses. Okay, P says I'm motivated. Maribel says very encouraging. Awesome, awesome, inspiring. Joyce is inspiring, awesome. And Fatima's story can also be yours, and even much more. So we have come to the meat of today's session. We have all of our speakers on the call ready, and I will just be reading out their bios and introducing them so we can meet all of our speakers. Yes. So I will start with Mercy. Mercy is a civil engineering graduate who was perplexed about how most processes involved in the construction industry were still quite manual and repetitive. She made a switch and started by learning about data science and machine learning, whilst leveraging cloud technologies along the way. Previously, she worked as a data scientist at Carbon, a Nigerian fintech company, and is now a software engineer on the Mesh team at Microsoft, and has been contributing to building Mesh's collaboration services for over 3 years now. She enjoys spending time with herself and friends, trying out different recipes and hobbies, speaking about topics that interest her, listening to music, occasionally binge watching shows and cartoons, staying active through different sports, and training to beat her marathon personal best record. Oh, wonderful. Hi, Mercy. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. I feel a little tired, to be honest, but aside from that, I feel good.
Okay, awesome. Glad to have you here. Thank you for that. I would quickly move to Our next speaker, Princess Akari. Princess is a value-driven and award-winning product manager with over 7 years of professional experience in corporate strategy, operations, projects, and product management. In the last 4 years, she has led product teams to build and launch significant products in the health tech and fintech sectors. In addition to her work as a product manager, she is also the founder and community lead of the People in Tech PIP community, where she fosters community building to drive career growth and impact. She has been able to contribute to the career improvement of thousands of product managers by creating access to resources and opportunities through the PIP community. Her other volunteering work includes her active participation in the Women Empowerment Engine program that is educating Nigerian girls in new enterprises by Mercy Corps, which helps improve the learning outcomes and economic status of marginalized adolescent girls aged 16 to 19 in northern Nigeria, leaving a lasting impact on their lives and communities. Princess is also the co-founder and CEO of Sandbox, a talent matching tech startup that connects companies with top-tier and vetted tech talent. Aside from all the work she does, Princess loves to travel and experience new places, cultures, and ancient histories. Hi, Princess. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening. I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very much once again for being here. And I'll quickly move on to our next speaker, Elizabeth. With over 8 years of product design experience, Elizabeth Wangari is a human-centered design expert who builds impact-driven solutions through technology. A product designer based in Nairobi, Kenya, she specializes in user experience, user interface, and product strategy. She is responsible for discovering and defining problems, empathically designing solutions, and communicating them effectively to diverse stakeholders and users. Elizabeth has a strong foundation in product management, UX research, marketing, and advertising, and she has applied her skills and knowledge to various domains and contexts, from poverty alleviation to social awareness. Currently, she is dedicated to creating impactful designs as well as fostering the empowerment of young women who venture into tech. Elizabeth believes that every experience serves as an opportunity for self-discovery. Hi, Elizabeth. Good afternoon. How are you doing today? Hi, Elizabeth. You're muted.
Hello, I'm doing well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so very much. And to our wonderful moderator, Saha. Saha Owesi is a passionate and results-driven product manager slash product owner from Uganda. With a strong background in technology and a deep love for the fintech and climate tech industry, she thrives on building products that not only meet diverse customer needs, but also exceed expectations. Navigating the dynamic landscape of product management, she values cross-functional collaboration and it offers an opportunity to learn from diverse perspectives. A firm believer in the power of technology to transform industries, Salha is committed to breaking barriers and empowering others in underrepresented communities to pursue careers in technology. Her skill set encompasses product development, user testing, A/B testing, data analysis, market competitive analysis, Scrum, product testing and launching, process drafting, and agile development. She is known for her meticulous attention to detail, strong analytical skills, and enthusiasm for agile methodologies, which she leverages to build and launch impactful products. In summary, Saha is a dedicated and self-motivated professional, driven by her commitment to building products that satisfy customer needs, drive business growth, and make a meaningful impact in the fintech and climate tech industry. As a woman in tech from Uganda, she is proud to contribute to the growing presence of women in technology and pave the way for future generations. Amazing. Hi, Saha. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hello, good evening. I'm okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
awesome. Yes, nice to meet you. So I would hand the baton over to Saha now. We have come to the moderated fireside chat session, and we'll just be hearing from the wealth of knowledge of our speakers. And if you don't have your note yet, this is the time to please get your note, get your pen, and be ready to receive of all of our speakers. Over to you, Saha.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I think this is where we go to the questions. So my first question is going to go to Marcy. I hope you're ready. So Marcy, growing up as a young Nigerian girl, what inspired you to study a STEM course in the university? And also, what also inspired your tech trajectory? Did you have any female role models around you while you were growing who helped you to make this particular decision? Over to you, Marcy.
Okay. Hi again. So for me, I hope I'm audible before I start rambling. Okay. So for me, what inspired me, both my parents are in STEM, so it was very natural for me to see it as an option very early on. My mom is a nurse and my dad is a civil engineer too. So growing up as a child, I was the very curious child. Like I'll take apart things and then put them together. There was like a time I actually opened up the TV because it wasn't working. I tried to fix it, but it didn't work. But I did a lot of things like that while growing up, just exploring tech and that's like gadgets around the house and things like that. Luckily enough, I also had the privilege to have a computer at home, like when I was younger. I wasn't doing anything groundbreaking with it, but I played a lot of games and I got comfortable just being in front of the screen. Little did I know that I would spend much of my adulthood doing that for obscene hours. But yeah, so that was like kind of the trajectory for me. Like I was just comfortable with that space. And when it was time to choose and pick what to study in school, because my dad had been involving me in his work while I was younger, like he would ask me to help with designs, just little things like edit here and there. So I was really comfortable with some of the tools that the engineers used, like from when I was in secondary school. So I just naturally thought that, okay, I can become a civil engineer. So that's why I decided to do for school. But going into the field and then practicing, um, it was very different from what I imagined in my head. It was a little bit underwhelming for me. I get bored fairly easily, so when I have to do something over and over and over again, I just check out mentally. So that was how it was for me during my internships on the site. I think both internships were like maybe all in all, probably like 9, 10 months. And in 9, 10 months, like you think there will be like a diversity of things to do, but it wasn't that much where I did my internships because I did it in the same place both times. So that was kind of what guided me into deciding to transition into tech. And while I was in the university, I think in my fourth year, I started being more deliberate about my transitioning. So before then, I played around with some programming languages because it was compulsory to take one in 200 level. And then I decided I liked it, and then I said to learn more. The school had opportunities to take them as like a side program, so I was able to do that in year 3 and then year 4 as well. So after I graduated, I decided to spend more time just learning about tech. And why I chose data science specifically was because the community that I found, I live in Kaduna, so the community I found here in Kaduna was primarily focused on data at that point in time. So data science, artificial intelligence, ML. So we had like a resident engineer there who really took his time to get us up to speed and guide us. So it was very physical for me, my learning. I used online communities as well and online resources to get up to speed. But yeah, I think I should stop here so I don't answer other questions and give space for other people to talk as well. But that's like the gist of it so far.
Okay. Thank you so much, Marcy, for sharing that with us. So for the next question, I am going to go to Princess Akari. So can you walk us through a day in life of a product manager? And also maybe share with us some of the hardest parts of your job, plus a few technical skills that are necessary for a beginner in product management or someone who would like to be a product manager. Thank you.
All right. All right, thank you. So I'll be answering the question in 3 parts. But before I start answering the question, I just want to say myself and Messi were basically twins because I also studied civil engineering in school and I spent a lot of my younger years trying to repair stuff, sometimes deliberately breaking them down to see if I could build them back up. So hi, Messi, twin. Anyways, now that that's out of the way, can you guys hear me? Please, can you confirm you can hear me?
Yes, Princess, we can still hear you.
Oh, you guys can hear?
I can hear Princess. Hi, Saha, can you hear Princess?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, we can.
All right, all right. Okay. So let me just get right to it. If you stop hearing me, just let me know.
Oh wow, I think Princess has dropped off. Saha, I think we can just
Okay.
okay, I think she's back now.
Princess, are you there?
Okay,
I think we lost you for a
I'm
bit.
back. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yes, Princess, I think you can proceed. Hopefully, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear. I just want to confirm that you guys can hear, see me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'll just get right into it. Immediately you can't hear me, please let me know. So you asked 3 questions and I'm going to answer them in batches. So the first one is a day in life of a product manager. So first things first, as a product manager, you are a planner. So you begin your day by planning. You can also call this management, but you begin your day by planning. You have a list of people to have conversations with. You write down the things that you need to do. You check emails. You check with the customer success team. You check with other people in the cross-functional team. If there's a conversation that needs to be continued, if there's a conversation that you need to start. So that's like the first part of your day, trying to just cover like the basis of the previous day or that day. Some other product managers, spend the first part of their day doing stand-up meetings or retros, depending on the kind of structure within that particular organization. So the day in life of a product manager would differ according to the kind of industry that you work in, the kind of company that you work for, and the size of your team. So there's no product manager that has the exact same day as the other product manager. Every product manager has like a unique or separate experience depending on all these factors. But there are just some general things that every product manager would, encounter in their days. I already mentioned the planning, where you're having meetings, you're talking to people. And then the second part would be the phase of the project that you are on. Are you still brainstorming with stakeholders? Are you trying to understand the problem? Where exactly are you guys? Are you guys designing at that moment? Are you guys working, implementing the solution? The project phase would also determine the particular thing you will do that day. So let's say you are in the design phase of your project. As a product manager, you're working closely with your product designer to ensure that he's designing the solutions according to the requirements. You're having like the conversation with him, looking at the screen. So most times before you do high fidelity designs, you would do maybe wireframes or mock-ups to actually do user testing with the people who would use that product to check if your solution is actually solving their problem. So during that phase, the product manager is also in those meetings, looking at, touch points from the users, getting feedback from them on the design. Some other times the product manager is having like a one-on-one design review with the designer, telling him, oh, do this or do that. Sometimes it can be A/B testing with the designer. You're showing people who would actually use the product, which do you prefer, A or B? So that's just a simple way to put A/B testing. So let's say you are in development phase. For people who do not have QA people on their team, product managers, enter into that shoe, they feel that shoe, and they try to test the product. They do testing on the product. They document feedback for the engineer. So even when they get to the actual launch phase, it doesn't just stop there. They continue the work. They work alongside the marketing team and the customer success team to see how the product is doing in the market, getting feedback from the customers to improve the product. So the day in life of a PM would always change. It's a very dynamic role. It's a role that you may not do the exact same thing every day. Every day is mostly different from the last day. So if maybe you're done with the design phase today, the next time you can have more conversations and collaborations with designers. The next time you're having more conversations with marketing and sales team. The other time you're having more conversations with customers. Maybe you're doing user research. The other time you're having conversations with the customer success team, getting feedback from them as to what customers are saying about your products. So every day is a different day. Now to the challenges. Salha, just to confirm, you asked a question about the hardest parts of being a product manager. And that part, I think, is managing people. So we would call it the normal thing that a lot of us here know about is stakeholder management. So stakeholder management is very, very wide. You're managing internal stakeholders, maybe cross-functional teams, depending on how large your team is or the people who are working on a particular project with you. And then external stakeholders. So one very popular external stakeholder group is your customers. And you're trying to see how you can manage your expectations within the team, manage the people that you're working with to ensure that you are meeting timelines, and not just meeting timelines, you are providing the perfect solution to solve the problems that your customers have. So you're managing that inside, and you're also managing your customers' expectations as well, trying to understand what they need and trying to make sure that you're providing that specific solution that they need. So I think that's the hardest part of the job, finding the part that's perfect balance between managing internal and external stakeholders. A lot of product managers have issues with managing engineers for several reasons. If you just do a random product manager research, they'll tell you that their number one problem is managing engineers, and that's for a myriad of reasons. But most times it comes up because the communication is either non-existent or it's because they don't know how to manage people. So that's one part of the job that is really, really strenuous. I would say that's the hardest part of the job, trying to lead people towards a particular goal. I mean, human beings are very hard to manage. So just imagine as one person, you're managing like a team of people and ensuring that everyone is on the same page, working towards a particular goal. So that's what I would say is the hardest part of the job. So you also talked about technical skills or skills that a product manager should have. So the very first thing is communication skills. So there is nothing you would do as a product manager that does not rely on communication. You're either verbally communicating to the people you work with, or you're communicating via documentation. So we write different types of documentation. We do write PRDs, that's the most popular one. Write PRDs, write briefs. We even draw up user flows, user journey maps, depending on the company and the kind of things that they want. So as a PM, you are always communicating every day. Sometimes they even drag us online and say that we're always saying how far. We're always saying how far because we want to know the status of the project. We want to know where you are. So that's why we're always saying how far. But that's the number one thing. Communication skills. You need to know how to write better, communicate better, technical requirements, user requirements, etc. for both the people you work with and maybe external stakeholders. The second part is critical thinking and problem solving. So when faced with a problem, what's the first thing that you do? You need to have like the right skills to be able to step back from the problem and think of like someone says, ask yourself 5 whys. Why am I doing this? Then why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Until like it comes to the littlest form for you to really understand the problem and then start thinking of the solution from there. So most people in organizations, in HIPPO organizations, they call it the highest paid person. So let's say maybe your CEO or someone who is the highest paid in the team has said you should do something, and they just get right to doing it. They don't start thinking, okay, how do I step back and be insightful? How do I step back and be critical about how I approach this thing? So as a beginner product manager, it will set you apart from the rest of the people who will just jump right into it. No matter how much time that, no matter how much of a time that you may not have at that particular moment, you just have to create some time to actually do some critical thinking, because it would help you in the long run. Because at the end of the day, if anything happens to the product or the project, it still comes back to you as a product manager to say, oh, the product failed or the project failed. They're not going to meet the engineer to say, oh, the product failed, because the engineer did what he or she was asked to do. And they'll say, why didn't you do more research? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? So I think problem solving and critical thinking is also a very important skill. And then we come down to stakeholder management. I'm just going to mention 3. There are many skills, but these 3 are like the top. Stakeholder management, I already mentioned this as one of the hardest things in product management. So it's something that you need to have. This also falls under communication, but it's a skill on its own because it's a big deal. You need to know how to manage people. You need to know how to stay calm under pressure. There will be pressure, there will be fires, there will be things that would happen. And you need to know how to manage that comfortably. So those are the top 3 things off the top of my head that I feel every product manager should have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Princess. Thank you so much for that. So we are going to Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, how was your childhood like growing up as a young girl in Kenya? And then do you remember your first encounter with computers as a child? And then what inspired your choice of product design as a career path? Over to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much for the questions. Can you hear me well? Awesome. So I will combine both 3 questions in into one story, right? So my childhood growing up in Kenya was just a typical childhood, any African kid childhood, going on and about, playing outside, and just being a child. My first encounter with computers, it wasn't the typical like Princess and Mercy. My encounter was in high school, like I think when I was 13 or 14, and this is because we were doing computer classes. So that's why from my curiosity, my childhood was mostly based on curiosity, trying new things. I'm glad my parents gave me the freedom to do anything, of course, within limits. I tried a business when I was around 9 or 10. It failed. I was beaten up for getting money illegally. But then again, the curiosity, they gave me a purpose of being curious and trying new things. So my choices of becoming a product designer, it was by chance. I was exploring a lot of things after high school. I started doing arts and then trying to transfer the arts into a digital platform. Then I stumbled through someone who advised me to get into a school to venture into now more of digital arts. So my choices again have been informed by my childhood, being curious, trying new stuff, failing, sometimes not, sometimes succeeding. I succeeded in doing art competition and won. So it's a combination of a lot of things. So by chance, again, I found myself getting into a school, learning more about businesses in arts. And then over the years, I came to learn there's more to design than graphics. I got into marketing, and then from marketing, out of curiosity, I wanted to learn why we are doing certain things for our clients. For example, why are we selling things at a discount? Do users actually need these things, this particular discount? Then again, started doing research, talking to people. Initially, I started talking to client service. If you're in the advertising space, you know the systems, there's client service, the account managers, people who face the client, and asking, I think Princess mentioned, asking a lot of questions, getting to know why you are doing this. And that also informed my curiosity into now the research bit. So over the years, it's a process of from childhood to arts to advertising. And then I found myself doing research and eventually found myself into product. I hope I've answered the question.
Yes, you have, Elizabeth. Thank you. Okay, so I think we are going to go back to Marcy. So Marcy, can you describe the work you do as a software engineer at Microsoft? And then what important technical skills should every beginner in software engineering have? What are also some important resources or communities that were helpful in your tech career? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before I answer, I would just like to say that I've been learning a lot from other speakers. So I just wanted to call that out. We have an amazing set of women here on this call. Yeah. So what I do typically on a day-to-day, my role is a software engineering role, but the work itself is more of a back-end engineering, cloud engineering type of work. So what this involves, okay, let me just backtrack. So I work on the Microsoft Mesh team, and what we build is mixed reality experiences. So think of the intersection between artificial, what's it called, AR and VR. That's augmented reality and virtual reality. So the artificial intelligence is the buzzword right now. So that's all I have circulating in my head. But yeah, so the intersection between AR and VR is where MR, that's mixed reality, fits into. So what I and the rest of my team members do is basically building services to support this experience. So if you've heard of Facebook's metaverse, the mixed reality is Microsoft's metaverse offering. So we call ours Microsoft Mesh. And a lot of these services are run in the cloud, are powered by the cloud. So a lot of the things that I build have to be deployed on the cloud as well. So think of Microsoft Azure, that's our own cloud offering. So we use the different services available there to set up servers, to allow people communicate, to scale, so things like that. The skills that I think are very important for software engineering can be applied to every other field, to be honest. I think they're very generic, and they would help you in any other thing that you're interested in doing. So the first one, which might turn to become a buzzword during this call, is curiosity. So far, my career progression has been based on curiosity. Like whenever I get interested in something, I decide to try it out and see what's there. If I like it enough, I will switch to it. So I think it's also has also inspired my learning as well. I've been able to learn things that have helped me. They don't always help me in the exact moment that I learn them. That's the interesting thing about curiosity. The more curious you are, the more knowledge you're able to get, and you never can tell when you're going to use these things. So for me, that has also helped my learning as well, not just work-wise, but also personally. But the other things I would say that have been very important is being able to practice while you're learning. So we can easily get sucked into just watching people do stuff, just reading, but not actually using that knowledge to build stuff. The actual learning happens when you try to go build that thing that you have seen someone else do. That's when you'll be able to see if you can actually do it, if you've learned, and can actually add your own spin to it, and further learning can also happen as well. So I would say practice as much as you can and as early as you can. Don't wait till you feel a little bit more confident or more comfortable before you start practicing. You won't get there if you don't practice. And then the other thing I'll say is that you should be very patient with yourself and with your growth. Um, there's some buzz, and some people have been fortunate enough to get tech jobs in 6 months, in 3 months, in very short timelines like that. But for the average person and for the most part, it will take some time. So just be patient with yourself and know that the more consistent you are, the more the likelihood of you being able to get the kind of job you want, or start the kind of company you want, or solve kinds of problems you want to solve. So yeah, just trust the process and be consistent. With regards to the learning communities that helped me personally when I started, like I said, I live in Kaduna, so the physical community I had access to here, it's called Collab. So Collab was one of the first tech hubs that were set up here, that was set up here. So I joined community in 2017 and have mostly been an active member since then. Like I organized a number of meetups while I was still living here. And also participated in a lot more meetups than I organized. But just being in a community, if you have access to a physical one, all well and good. If you don't have access to that, there's so many online communities that you can learn to leverage. And I say learn to leverage because it's very easy to join a community but not extract value from a community if you're not putting in the work. So you'd have to do the extra step to either reach out to people or ask for feedback regarding your work. Just do something, like take an action. Don't just expect people to come meet you and offer help. Everyone is also on their own journey at different points, so they might not be able to just focus on just you. So be more proactive. But for online communities, that really helped me when I was transitioning to data science. Data camp was the top. Like I was obsessed with data camp. I took a lot of courses on there. At some point, it felt like I had gone through almost the entire catalog because of how frequently I was taking courses. But that was like one of my best places for data science learning. Coursera was also very good. And then when I was transitioning to software engineering, what I used more of was LinkedIn Learning because I have access to that through work. So I used a lot of LinkedIn Learning, and then I also used O'Reilly as well. But I think both of them are paid. So Coursera offers you free financial aid when you apply for certain courses, so you can take advantage of that. But yeah, that was like what helped me when I was learning.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marcy. In short, learning never stops. So let's
Exactly.
keep learning.
I'm still
Yeah.
learning on some of these platforms till dates.
Perfect. Okay. So back to you, Princess. So you do hold a Bachelor's of Engineering from the University of Port Harcourt. Growing up, did you always know that you were going to have a career in STEM? And what inspired you to do product management or to make that particular choice to become a product manager?
All right, thank you. I think I already started talking about this before. I think my network messed me up. But yeah, and I was trying to farms with Mercy as well. And saying we were twins of some sort. So like I already mentioned, it was something that I think I already had like an idea that I was going to do something engineering related, even though I didn't really know the word, like this is the particular one I was going to do. But I was just like Messi would say, the buzzword curiosity today. I was just curious about a lot of things. And I mean, I will have done well in the arts too, because curiosity also thrives there. But engineering is also something that I've always had like an inkling for. So also there was someone who was like a respectable figure in my life who was an engineer. Like Mercy said, her dad was an engineer. So that also played a role in making me understand that, oh, this is a respectable role. Growing up in Nigeria, they were like certain courses or certain things that you would do that, you know, say my parents would be proud of me if I do this. So medicine, engineering, I think law, those were like the top ones. But yeah, some people along the way, they just dropped off. They're like, nah, I don't like this. It doesn't really align with my values either way. But I just realized that even though there was like that pressure from society, from your parents, and also from like the figure in my life who was well respected and was an engineer, I also had like that personal curiosity to do things. So I was like, oh, I'm going to thrive here. And then civil engineering, it's a very wide type of engineering. Sorry to all the other engineers, but it's very, very detailed. Like there's the structural part, there's the water engineering, but like civil engineering is so broad and so interesting. So you can actually touch every other area of engineering while being a civil engineer. So while I didn't like grow up saying I'm going to be a civil engineer early on, but I just knew that I would do something technical per se. So now coming to my transition to product management. In my career or like in my life, in my professional life, I've always had to deal with jobs, or I've always had to deal with roles that had to do with dealing with complex problems, coming up with solutions, and then providing that solutions to the end users. I've always found myself in like jobs like that. So I think I was already doing some product management related tasks for somebody who was in tech at the time. And then he told me that, oh, you're good at this. I think you should transition. I was not in tech at all. I was in oil and gas industry. I didn't have an idea what the tech people were doing. I just knew that, oh, these tech people. And he was like, oh, just try it. You can start with research, you know, because that's like the foundation of product management, trying to understand your users, trying to understand the problem. So I actually, I succumbed to the pressure. And then when I tried to transition, I took a few courses and I realized that it was something that I really enjoyed doing. So I was transitioning from a role where I was doing corporate strategy and project management into product management. And like I mentioned before, the top skills of being a product manager, if you work in strategy and project management, you have a lot of useful transferable skills that you can use as a product manager. It's just that when you're thinking of the end product, you're not thinking, oh, this gas pipeline or this particular, you're thinking of this software product. These are the end users of this software product. You're not thinking in the project way, you're thinking in the product way. But there were a lot of transferable skills that I had from my former role that made it very easy for me to transition. So a lot of people that want to transition, some of them have transferable skills, which is very, very good. But some people may not have and still have the desire to. But I think you should build those skills first, because when you transition and you don't have those foundational skills, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to thrive as a product manager. So I would say the transition was smooth due to like the support I also had, because as I transitioned, I got a job in like 3 weeks. You know, Messi mentioned something about people who have exceptional stories of, oh, I got a job in 3 months, I got a job. And yeah, and some people are like, yeah, this if this person can do it, I can do it. Everyone's journey is very different, and we really wish that our own would be that story. But for me, it was so. But I always tell people to always be patient. When you transition and it doesn't look like something is coming up, it doesn't mean that you've made the wrong choice. I mean, sometimes it may be, but most of the time, it doesn't mean that you've made the wrong choice. You just need to be patient. You need to increase your network. I believe the other speakers, or maybe a question like this will come up, but there's some things that you need to do to be able to, you know, get that opportunity, whether it's a voluntary opportunity, internship, or just an unpaid work, just to be able to build your portfolio. But yeah, that's my transition story in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Princess. Thank you for that. Elizabeth, back to you. So I believe we all know that there is no path that is really smooth. So in the different roles we all have, there are some challenges that could happen along the way. So Elizabeth, how did you deal with setbacks and challenges in your tech journey? And then what would you say are some of the important resources, communities that helped you in your career as a product designer? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So dealing with setbacks, it requires you as a person, not even as a designer or as a PM. It requires type of change of mindset, growth mindset, right? You need to think of, fine, this has happened, what's next? So for me, I'll give a scenario where when I was moving from college with arts skills and a little bit of coding, I now transitioned as a junior designer in a very big advertising company in Kenya. So the transition from college to now the workforce, and I think I was 17 then. It was the situation, again, curiosity. They saw my work, they liked my work, and then I joined the company, right, as a trainee. But then it came with its setbacks. People not trusting that you can deliver. Of course, you're a newbie, you don't know how it works. Also things like I was the only female designer in the organization, an organization full of, I think, 1,000 and something. And the design studio had almost, let's say, 50 plus designers, and all were men. So there was that, she's a lady, she can't do much. I was just the underdog. And that's good. Being an underdog is quite good because you're presented with an opportunity to fail, right? So that's my transitional story, and the setbacks was I was a newbie, again, underage, of course. In Kenya, you were given those opportunities to see if you can get into a job market, right? And then what I can say also is seeking support. I did that. I had my then art director, the person who now welcomed me into the company. He gave me a shoulder to cry on, and he gave me a reason of why I should stay and why I should continue doing certain type of work, right? I started animating. I liked animating, and little did I know that was one of the key selling points to our clients. When you animate something, the revenue comes back. And then that's when Google started doing Google Ads, right? That was in 2010, 2011 there. And again, my skills for animating, there were small things. You can animate art text and all that. Clients started liking my work and they wanted to work with me. Remember, I was a newbie, I was just a junior. And the moment you start bringing value to the company, the more they see your value, right? So seeking mentorship from, of course, guys who have been in the industry for long, and also my peers, because we're many in the internship class. And also continuous learning. I think Mercy mentioned, you have to keep on learning. You just don't stop when someone tells you your work is bad. As a designer, if you're transitioning in as a designer, don't stop when someone tells you your work is good, it's bad. For example, if you start cooking, let's say it's a new meal that you're trying to cook, it will not always come as good. The second time may be possibly better than the first time. So continue learning, have an open mind. And also, I think maintaining a positive mindset. This is what I keep on telling myself. Okay, fine, I'm transitioning to this type of work. I'm working with now the boards and all that. How do I transition? How do I become positive, right? As my mentor says, I met with her last week. There's another skill that she's learning. She's been in the industry for 30 years. She's worked in corporate, Google, Visa, name it. And as much as she's now transitioning into getting into boards and all that, she mentioned there's skills that she needed to learn. Like they're soft skills, but you need to have softer skills. For example, we are taught or we are told, learn to listen. Don't be fast to speak, right? Listen what it is that you're being told. You might not be an expert in a certain situation, but listen. But then again, there's another skill of listening to what is not being said, right? What is it that it's out of context? It's there, but it's not there. How can you see a presentation And this is now as you get into into mid-level or senior position, you will get there. Don't feel bad that there's some setbacks or someone is telling you you're not good at your job. Of course, there are those people who are, I don't know, are the gatekeepers or someone who's just not good with communication, right? To move on to the next question, resources and communities. For me personally, I networked a lot, knowing very well, again, the beauty of being a child. Being a 17-year-old in the workspace, I was given the platform to ask questions. I could go to the creative director, tell them, oh, I need to experiment on this. And the brand that I was working for, they were targeting students, or rather high school leavers, people who are transitioning from high school to university. And I was the best person to solve the problem, right? So I saw an opportunity, ran with the brand, and I got a good chance to run a campaign by myself. Again, the design communities, I'll talk as a designer because that's my niche. The design communities around, both in Nigeria, here in Kenya, I've seen a lot of design community in South Africa. For example, if you're an introvert, there are online communities like Figma community, right? There is a design community I follow on Twitter, I think Design Chick. She's from Nigeria. She very much. Hello? Someone talking?
Sure about that, Elizabeth. Please go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, online communities and of course offline communities, like Mercy was saying, look at where you are, which communities are going on. I know in Nigeria, in Lagos City, in the Lagos State, there are blockchain communities. If you want to get into Web3, there's a lot, just network. For example, what I tell myself is, if I meet Mercy today, I'll ask her a few questions. Oh, what do you do? Which community can I, or which resources do you use? Which community are you in? Can you help me get into this community? I'm sure no one is going to keep that information. She'll give you one community, you'll network with someone else, they'll give you another community, and that's how you expand your network, right? Another thing is like design conferences. For example, Figma has design conferences. Also, these organizations want to showcase their product. Those conferences mean a lot. And also events like free events like this, for example, you're told register and learn from other people. It doesn't cost you a dime. It's just 1 hour or 2 hours, learn from people. And also LinkedIn. Believe me, there's opportunities on LinkedIn. Just DM someone, DM Princess if she has time, DM Mercy. I'm sure if she gets the time, she will always guide you into the right direction. Because there is joining professional organizations. I know IDF, International Interaction Design Foundation. There's Coursera, as people have mentioned. Google courses, they're free for mostly African markets. There's a lot of IDEO courses, and if you want to learn now about research, human-centered design, IDEO courses are free to some levels, to some beginner level. Believe me, these things, they're all over the place. You just need to put yourself out there, ask, even if it's on Twitter. Sometimes you might think no one is watching, but believe me, someone will always want to give a helping hand. Mostly in the women community, we've seen what we've gone through throughout the years. No one will see someone suffering or someone who is asking for help and not help. Just ask for help, and someone will come through for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for that. So, Mercy, back to you. So, how would you suggest a beginner in software engineering to position themselves to prospective employers if at all they want to increase their chances of landing a software engineering job?
Okay. So I would answer this in half parts from the software engineering side and in half parts as someone who transitioned into data science, because those are like my two experiences with transitioning. When I was transitioning from data science, how I got my job as data science was through participating in hackathons. So um, hackathons and what would you call them? Yeah, let me just call them hackathons. The second one felt less like a hackathon, but it was generally, or it was a prompt for people to come solve a generic problem for this company, that's Carbon. And the result of that was that from the pool of all those who indicated interest to come solve this problem, a few were selected and then offered jobs. From my experience, have been a very nice way to simulate working with other people, collaborating, working in a team setting. So even if it might not lead to a job for you, you would learn some of these skills that would transfer into you working somewhere. So I'd say participate in as many as you can find. And then talking about the software engineering transition, for that one, what helped me was that I did research into the company. So how I got the job was, it wasn't through the regular route of you applying and then going through the interview process and all of that. It was through a referral. And why I'm mentioning this is because even though I was doing data science, someone saw like how my growth had been like in my data science journey and my interest in also, I was at the point where I was thinking of transitioning into cloud engineering. So he's like an older mentor who I've known for a while, and he kind of knows like my competency levels and all of that stuff. So he suggested that, okay, do you want to try your hand at this? Someone reached out to him and asked him if he knew people who were interested or might want to work with Microsoft. So why I'm mentioning that is because my key takeaway from that was that be good enough that people actually can back you. For the most part, opportunities are out there, but it's not always easy to get them because there's so many people applying to those same things. When job openings are being posted, recruiters say they get as many as 10,000, 100,000. And I assure you that nobody's looking at all those applications. That's just the sad truth. It's very rare for a company to actually go through all 10,000 applications because it's very time consuming. Like they're out there trying to build their products, make money, satisfy their customers and all of that. So they would basically need to hire a dedicated team to go help them with that. And not everyone can actually afford to do that. So for the most part, a lot of companies depend on referrals and challenges like hackathons that I mentioned to actually get like applicants that are more likely to get hired than not. So it's easier if you keep working on yourself, but still have a like be more visible. And I'm not saying you should pander to people and ask kiss and all of that, because that's a little bit deceptive to be honest. But yeah, what I mean is that you should be don't shy away from talking about what you can do, what you've learned, and all of that. The internet can seem like a very big and overwhelming place, but it's also a very interesting place as well. Like you might think that nobody is seeing what you're doing, and nobody has an idea of your existence, but you'd be surprised that because of how consistent you've been with building and growing, people are actually taking note and be like, okay, this person has been doing XXX for this duration of time and they are consistently doing it. Because for the most part, people feel more comfortable with like you when you have been when no one has to force you to learn anything or do anything. Like you are self-motivated, you can get the job done by yourself, because we now live in a world where most people are working remotely. Your manager is not going to come to your house and knock on your door and say, where is this deliverable? they expect that you should be able to do it. So that's also one of the skills that people look out for when they want to give you a chance. Like they want to be able to sleep well at night, knowing that they hired you and you're going to do the job. For the most part, the skills that you need for the job, especially as an entry level person, companies actually know that you can learn that thing on the job. I got hired for a job that I had no inkling to, like, that wasn't my background. But the other things that mattered was that this person has showed that they have learned other things really well, and that transfers into them believing that I would still put in that same effort into learning this new thing as well. Um, so I would say use projects as well to learn how the companies hire. So one thing I almost always do when I'm about to just even think of applying to a company, I like to speak to someone who works there. Like Elizabeth mentioned, LinkedIn is an amazing place for that. I am not shy of reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I expect that if I reach out to 10 people, maybe 9 will hear me. Nobody, they won't answer me, but that's fine. Like, I know they're all busy. So if I'm lucky enough and one person answers me, that is all I need to find out more about the company that I am thinking about. I never go in blindly to these things. Like, people, there's this school of thoughts which I kind of agree with, which is increase your chances by applying to a lot of things. But I also think there's a smarter way to go about it by actually doing your own work. So you can apply to so many things, and then what if this company hires you and that's not the company that you actually want to work at? Like, you've gone through all that stress, and then you realize that I actually don't like this place. I don't like these people. I don't want to work there. What if? So I'd prefer to do the hard work of doing my own research, trying to find someone to talk to, people to talk to, before I even go through the interview process and all of that. But these are like the top of mind things for me regards the question. I hope I've addressed it well enough. If you still need more detail, you can ask in the Q&A and then I'll address that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marcy, for that. Thank you. So, Princess, back to you. So, what would you say inspired your community, people in product? And then, while at that, personally, and I think most people on the call, we all understand that being a founder is something that is not really easy. So, how do you deal with setbacks and challenges that you face in your tech journey?
All right, so I'll start with the first one. So everyone, like the speakers, they've spoken about the role of community and how community is important in itself and also as a solution for like a large group of people. For every sector in life, you need to have community. In the family sector, if you're religious, there's like a community of people who gather at a certain place at a certain time to worship together. If you're a family person, there's a group of people, they are called your siblings or your parents. Community would always find its way to, you know, support people. I'm very big on community, and that's why I founded one. So my inspiration behind like coming up or founding people in product was a solution to a problem that I had. Starting out in tech or product management, you would find out that there are a lot of dev communities. Like at the time, there were a lot of dev communities, there were a lot of design communities. There were product communities as well, and I joined those, but they were not as active as I would have wanted. So I believe that a community is a place where you can come for support. You can even come to provide support to other people. But it seemed like maybe when people were asking questions, there were no, that the responses were not as swift as you would have preferred. So there are people who would want to maybe provide help, but they're not able to provide the help because they're either not on the community or they're not just available to provide that help. And then on the other end, there are junior PMs like myself at the time who just want to know, like, please, what is a user story? I'm tired of reading everywhere. I don't even know how to come up with a user story. And then you just want someone to break it down for you, like in simple terms, like you've done LinkedIn Learning. You just want someone to tell me that this is what a user story is, like, person to person. And I was looking for that kind of space and I couldn't find at the time. I was still like a very young product manager. So you're not thinking, oh, let me create my own. But I was like, at this point, I just have to create. And I was thinking, I want to create a group of people who will be like accountable to each other, who will be able to help each other when we face problems, a group of people who would care about the career growth of each other. And that's how people in product started. We were 9, like I just gathered people, and we were 9 when we started. And I was like, see, as we're here now, any problem you have, all of us will put our heads together and solve that problem. Problems at work, problems with your learning and development, problems with your career growth, we are here for you. And we use that mindset to, like, till today, I believe that People in Product is one of the supportive communities for product managers. I go through the channels very often and I see that people are just willingly helping each other. Like, you don't need to maybe beg people to say, please, now you people should be responding. As someone is asking a question, someone else is responding. So it's something we've imbibed at the community. And I believe that our community is solving that problem. So the reason why I started the community was because of that close-knit support. And Mercy said something about you reach out to people and they air you on LinkedIn. At least when you come to the community and you reach out to people, they will not air you there. So when they air you on LinkedIn, you can come to the community and cry and say, yeah, I reached out to 10 people and they aired me today. And they're like, Pele, sorry about that. We will not air you here. So I believe that's the use of community, providing support for people. I say, oh, I need a link to this particular thing. I need this, and someone else already has it. Like an example is someone is like, oh, I need the link to this free ebook. And then someone else just puts the ebook. On a normal day, you would start searching for the ebook online, start like on your own, but it may not be as fast as when you would use community. So very big on community once again. And that's the reason why I started PEEP. Then coming down to being a founder and how, like, the challenges, setbacks, etc. The first part of it was nobody sends me the work. I use my hand to carry the work by myself. So at some point, at the beginning stages, it was challenging, but it was not so tough. But as we started growing as a community, remember I said we were 9 people. It's easy to manage 9. Then you get to 200. Then you get to 500. Then you get to 1,000, 3,000, 5,000, more than 5,000. And it's getting increasingly difficult. But the first thing that the first setback we had was mostly around, like, managing our programs, making sure that people are actually getting the particular help that they need. So we have we set up like structures, different departments to ensure that people are actually getting value from our programs. Another thing that we do is the community engagement. I mentioned something about people coming online, like, to the community and saying, oh, I need someone to help me with this and this and this. We also set up a structure to ensure that people always have, like, links or answers to their questions. So that was something that earlier on we tried to, like, struggle with. And also time management was also like a setback for me at the time. But setting up structures, having people who are reliable, working closely with you as, like, managers in the community, it really, really went a long way. I have a lot of competent people around me who help me to manage the community, and it has been awesome. So supportive people would help you handle that part of your business. And I don't know if some people were here at the beginning of the call when they were reading the bio. I don't only found the People in Product community, I also have, like, a tech startup that I'm the founder of. So just imagine you're doing tech startup, you are doing product management in your 9 to 5, then you're coming to do community. It's a lot of work, but at the end of everything you're doing, time management is key. In fact, like, in life, anything you're doing, time management is the key. So let's use Burna Boy as an example now. You may hear later that maybe he's a businessman in Onitsha, in Nigeria, and you might now hear that apart from being a businessman in Onitsha, he's also Burna Boy. How is he able to do that? He has support. Then he also has like people who help him to manage his time. Everything comes down to time management. You need to think of the things that are most important to you and cut them down. So before now, I used to tell people that I don't have hobbies. Why don't I have hobbies? No, nobody should. Please don't be like me. Have hobbies, please have a life. But I usually tell people that I don't have hobbies because even if I want to have a hobby now, let's say I want to play games, where will I see time to play games? Because my days start really early and they end really late because I have a lot of things that I'm doing. But I try my best to manage my time. But this 2024, I've decided to create like a very good balance between everything I do. Even though I work past the normal work time, I try to say, okay, from this time to this time, I'll do this. And like I said at the beginning of when I was answering this question, working with competent people will really help your work. When you see that you have a lot of things you're doing and you know that you can give the job to someone to do and the person would actually do it, it really helps you. So maybe I'm trying to work on a deck. Someone has called you to say, please send your deck to so and so person. And because you can't send the exact deck you sent to this investor, to this other person, so you quickly call someone on your team and you're like, hey, can you help me edit this thing? You trust the person's ability to work on that thing without any edit from your end because you are also in a presentation. Maybe I'm here and something needs to be done. I have people who can help me to work on that. So in as much as people are saying, oh, even me, I say, oh, time management, blah, 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 over the top. I know that at the background, a strong foundation is what you really need to be able to do like a lot of things at once. I also have a podcast. I have someone on my podcast team and she's a mother. And she's a mother of 2 toddlers. So I don't know if any of you have nieces or nephews here, but if you've taken care of children before, you will understand that taking care of children is a very big work. So most times, like we talk, and she's like, we have time for different things. And from this time to this time, she does this. From this time to this time, she's very inspiring as she helps us do a lot of things around our content for the podcast. So that is a woman that is doing her 9-to-5 job. She's a content manager for the podcast. She's a mother of 2. And I believe maybe in her local church, she will be maybe head of the ushering units or something. So at the end of the day, yeah, like I said, have competent people who work with you, have a very strong foundation. That would really, really help. Have structure processes so that you can even pass on those processes to somebody. You can have it documented. You can have it somewhere. I prefer it documented, like written down. So when you're even handing over the information, you can say, oh, take this link. You see the way I come up with content. You see the way I post here. These are the passwords. These are the email addresses to this place. So when you have everything documented that way, you're able to hand over tasks to people that you work with. So you're working with competent people, you're managing your time, you're breaking it down into different hours of the day. In the morning, I work on this. Midday, I work on this. At the end of the day, I work on this. Even weekends, you say weekends, these are specific things that I work on because sometimes you may not be maybe working on any personal thing that you are founding. It may just be your personal development, learning and development. You're always complaining that you don't have the time to take courses. You're hearing that Messi has taken 20 courses. So I want to be like Messi. I've not even taken 1 course because my work is very stressful. You have to start thinking like, oh, at what time do I wake up? When do I sleep? What do I do during the weekends? I watch a K-drama from morning to night on Saturday and Sunday. I watch Nollywood if you're a Nigerian. So you have to start thinking, what's most important to me at this point in my life? How do I reduce the time for that? I mean, you would have much more time to do that. So if you ask people who are on several C-levels, even though their work is strenuous, it's more strategy at that point and less of execution. When you grow in your role, you realize that you have time to do more meaningful work and you even have time to watch the K-drama. But for most of us on this call, and depending on, I'm looking at comments, it looks like a lot of people are trying to transition. This is the time you make the sacrifice to say, oh, let me reduce my K-drama from 6 hours to 2 hours. I will use the remaining 4 hours to do my data course. I'll use it to learn Python. I'll use it to do technical writing course or whatever thing that we want to transition to. Let's say on Sunday, after church, you say, after church, me, I sleep from 1 p.m. till night. That's my every Sunday. Yes, sleep is very important. It's very good for you. But you're thinking to yourself that, oh, I have a goal. I need to achieve this goal. I need to manage my time better. Sleep is good. And how much sleep do I need per day? 8 hours. I'll sleep like 8 hours in the night. Let me use this after church time to read, to look at the things that I need to do this course, or to even plan my week to be a better engineer, to be a better data scientist, to be a better product designer, because there may not be time on your job to upskill, and you need to upskill because the world is evolving and things are getting more and more complex. You need to actually come up, like get to the point where your company is, get to the point where your industry is. I'm in fintech now, and things are moving very fast for a lot of fintech companies. So you need to move fast with it. You need to create time to actually be more valuable in your role, in your company, and whatever you do. So yeah, you have to work on your time management. You can read articles on time management. I have one on time management as well, but I wrote it about 2 years ago. Maybe I need to update it. But yeah, you can read articles on time management, project management, your own life. Like when I say project management, your life, like use your life as a project and say, I want to manage my life as a project. What are the things that I want to achieve? You write the goals down. At the beginning of the year, many of you may have written goals for the year. I want to be this, I want to do this, where are you right now? The quarter is almost ending. What have you achieved? How do you need to spread the remaining goals through the rest of the year? So that in November, when people are showing thread on Twitter of things I achieved this year, you too, you'll be among, you will do your own thread of things that you achieved this year, because you manage your time better and you actually manage your life as a project. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Princess. At the end of the year, I'll check your Twitter, just compare with what I did. Thank you. So, Marcy, oh, no, I think we are going to Elizabeth. Sorry about that. So, Elizabeth, what technical skills are necessary for any beginner in product design? And what are some of the misconceptions about product design that you found untrue down the lane in your journey? Yeah.
Again, good insights from Mercy and Princess. So for technical skills, I think as a designer, and this is what I keep on telling people, make sure it doesn't matter where you are, beginner level, senior level, you have to know how to interview. So I saw some comments, someone saying, what if I'm an introvert? How do I get into a product management? But you also have to know that this is a skill that you need to build over time. Understanding how to ask questions, conduct interviews, right? Because you don't want to build something, be it a fintech platform, whatever it is, you don't want to build in vacuum. You have to understand, why are you building this? Who are you building this for? What is the business angle to it, right? Making sure that you understand, you know how to do user research, conducting interviews, asking your 5 whys, right? Being okay with someone snobbing you. For example, you go to the market, assuming you're building a fintech platform for people in the market space. You have to be okay with going to the market, immersing yourself in their situation. For example, they're selling maize or tomatoes. These people are busy. These people have customers. Can they give you 5 minutes of their time? Having those skills, people's skills, engaging them, being polite, asking them for their time and all that. Conducting surveys. Sometimes you don't need to go to the field. You need to make sure that you work with your PM as a designer, work with your PM or the research team or the marketing team to ask the right questions so that they can inform your product better. Those surveys that you see people ask on Twitter, those are very insightful data to use to build your product. Another important, I'll say too, there's a UX design. You need to learn how to do prototyping, interaction design, right? But two, user research, as I mentioned, and also design thinking, right? You need to know how to break down complex problems. I know majority of us went to school, some of us were into sciences and all that. Now you're transitioning. Can you use the skills that you have, transfer those skills? Because assuming you are in medicine, right? And you want to transition into design, That's quite a big gap. Your mom will be so disappointed. But then again, if you want to transition, again, curiosity, you're bored at work, you just want to see what is out there, and you want to transition into design. Use the knowledge that you have gathered in the industry. For it, maybe it's civil engineering, medicine, whatever. Break that information, those complex solutions into simpler solutions, so that when you are presenting it to, again, someone in the market, they're not getting it hard, or rather you are trying to simplify a very hard solution to them. So those are two skills that I would like for you when you're transitioning. Think about, are you able to do good research? Are you able to ask the best questions there is, right? Are you able to design, to think design wise? How have you implemented your human? Are you empathetic enough, right? Those are also, as much as they're technical, they're also soft skills. Be empathetic, know who you are dealing with, know why you are dealing with, ask good questions, and think it's a complex problem, but I need to break it down into smaller solutions and simpler solutions. And to answer the other question is to do with, I had written it down, misconceptions, right? So I think this some people might think, or business or stakeholders like the CEO might want to hire maybe the top of the top designers, and they think it's a magic, like you design and it's a one-time task, right? I want this in 30 minutes and you'll get this in 30 minutes. That's a lie. There's no way on earth someone can design a product that can design something within 30 minutes. You have to think about it. You have to accommodate the situation where you have to brainstorm with the customers. You have to brainstorm with whoever it is, the stakeholder. So it's not a one-time thing. Also, another misconception is designing in isolation, where you think because you know some bits of Figma, some bit of Sketch, or you know how to animate here and there, you want to build in isolation. I've seen a lot of beginners think that they can do it by themselves. And that's why we have communities. These communities will help you elevate your design skills, asking questions, asking for feedback. For example, you build something. Again, you're building a portfolio, right? You want to start maybe applying for jobs. You can't just apply a job without a portfolio. You want to recreate maybe Spotify. I've seen a lot of case studies on Spotify. Ask this question, go to these communities. Even with product managers are the best people to ask to ask questions, to ask for feedback. They will ask you questions about the business. What are your business case, right? What is the strategy here? Who are your market and all that? So you get to understand, even from your peers, from your design peers. They'll not tell you, okay, this is good idea. You can do X and Y. You can improve on this. You can reduce this. You can reduce the contrast of the design. Another thing is, people think, and this is overall, not only designers, good design guarantees success. That's another misconception. You can't say that, oh, because I hired a designer, or because I'm a good designer, I can guarantee this organization success. Or return, or give me, like, I don't know, give me all your budget and I'll guarantee you success. Yes, design is important, but also working collaborating with other people, like business strategy, right? Usability, user experience, usability testers, right? The QA guys, engineers, making sure that the product that you're building is functional. At the end of the day, working with people, working with customers, working with marketers, working with business leads or business strategists, these guys will help you improve on your design and also will increase your case on building product that is a success. So with those, there are many misconceptions. Design is all about aesthetics, because you can do good UI and it's good. Good visuals actually sell. Those are what people use to pitch. You present something good, you attract. But then again, it's not all about aesthetics. It's how you think. Remember how I said you need to have a mindset of how to think for business, how to think for users, right? Those are the few misconceptions I've seen, and people have been asking me, oh, do I need to be very, very good with graphics? Sometimes no. For me, given my journey as a designer, I transitioned from being a curious kid, started drawing, and then getting to understand, okay, how can I make business out of this drawing? How can I transition now from fine arts into graphic arts? Graphic arts could sell, I could print t-shirts and all that. Then I transitioned into marketing because I was good with sales. Then I transitioned into research, and then I transitioned into product design. So it's not about aesthetics, it's how you think and how you relay information. Yeah, I hope that was a summarized version of what it is.
Yes. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I think that was it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Salha. Unfortunately, we are past our schedule, like we run past our schedule. I think we still had one more question, but unfortunately, we will not be able to take that. I'll just quickly dive into the Q&A session, and we'll try to take one question per learning track, or one streamlined question to all of us, because I'd just like to say that, wow, I have learned a lot. I mean, I don't know, ladies on the call, if you have, please let me see it in the webinar chat, because my note is full right now. Thank you so very much. Like, I'm learning, like, personally a whole lot. I mean, I'm really inspired. Thank you so much, my sweet Princess Elizabeth, and thank you, Saha. You've been an amazing moderator so far. I know we have quite a number of questions on the Q&A, but I know that some of them have also been answered. And there are some of them that are quite similar, so I'll see how I can merge some of them. So there's a question here for Princess. I think we'll just start with that. So the question says, my question is for Miss Princess, and you look beautiful, by the way. I'm currently undergoing a program with Tech for Dev on product management. I have had the introductory aspect before and just sort of wondering. At times I feel so overwhelmed and mostly ask myself, can I do this? Am I capable and all? I enjoy the course, but I feel I'm not good enough. So please, what advice can you give me? And just before I think Elizabeth already spoke on the question of being outspoken and wanting to do well. Let me see if there's any other question that I can piggyback about that. Okay, yes. So that's the question, Princess. Basically about someone who has taken product management, but at times they feel overwhelmed, not sure if they are capable, I'm not sure if they are good enough. Yes, and there's also a question about being able to market yourself, despite having basic knowledge in research and development. So if you could just quickly touch on them in like 2 minutes, we'd be very grateful. Over to you, Princess.
All right. 2 minutes is a short time, so I'll just go very fast. So the first person is already worrying about a problem that hasn't happened yet. So she has taken courses. She doesn't have a job yet, but she's already afraid that she won't be good on in that job. So let's just step out of product management or tech as a whole. This can happen to anybody. Feeling like you are not good enough. That's a summary. And the only way you can solve that kind of problem is to start with your mindset, to change your mindset. Anyone can be good at anything with practice. Anything. If I start today to learn the violin, I'm going to be an expert if I continue to practice and I continue to improve myself as a violinist. So if you feel that way, sorry about that. But the very first thing you need to do is to change your mindset and tell yourself that you can do it. The next thing you have to do, because you must follow your thought process with actions. You can't just say, oh, yes, I can do it, and then go to sleep. You start thinking, what makes me feel this way? Is it that when you go online and you see people talking about product management, you're like, oh, I don't know this part of product management. And you start thinking, what did I now learn if I don't know this part? So you write it down and say, oh, I want to learn more about product strategy. And then you go ahead to say, okay, what are the free resources available to people who want to learn more about product strategy? And you start learning. Another thing is practicing, because that is where the real learning actually happens. And you actually start practicing. You can use fictional products. You can even meet people who are working on projects and you tell them that you want to offer your services to them. So if you're afraid of getting a paid job and maybe they'll sack you because they feel like you don't know what you're doing, start with people who are maybe your peers or people who are just building stuff and tell them that you want to volunteer your service. Product manager, these are the things that I can do. I can do this, and this, and let them give you opportunities to practice, because you have to practice. You have to do, and then you have to be very open to them. In the very first role that I did, I worked with senior engineers, senior product designers. Everybody on the team was a senior person, and I was just 3 weeks in. And I kept reminding them, every meeting we would have, I'll say, please, you guys remember that I just entered this, I just transitioned, please be easy on me, but give me tasks to do, be heavy on me, give me feedback. I need to know that this user flow I drew is not it at all, and then I can adjust myself. Give me feedback on what I need to do. And most times there are some things that they'll say in the meeting, I have no idea what those things are. I'll just say, okay, yes, I will do it. Inside the meeting, I'll say, yes, I can come up with that documentation for you. I don't even know what that documentation is. I quickly first go to Google and say, what is this thing? And then I start reading about it. I read a lot of books, articles. You will find me reading articles, books. I was more like, it was a lot, because I needed to know, I needed to be confident. I needed to be able to say, these people depend on me for this particular thing. So that's the first thing you need to do after changing your mindset and telling yourself that you can do it. Actually go ahead and, follow that thought with action. Start practicing, meet people and say, I want to work for you, or I want to do so and so thing, or work on a project, fix a problem for yourself. As a product manager, you can actually come up with a solution to any random problem you have. Come up with documentation, come up with mock-ups for the products. You can use no-code tools to actually make the product come to life. And when you do the end-to-end development process, maybe on your own and with the feedback, someone talked about feedback, I think it's Elizabeth. She said, when you talk to your fellow designers and you tell them, oh, what do you think about my work? And you get feedback from them. As a product manager, you show people your work and say, what do you think about this thing? Or what do you think about my thought process about approaching this thing? And it will really help you. The second question was around what? Please remind me what the second question was about.
The second question was about an aspiring product manager who wants to know how to market themselves.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that question. I'm going to be really fast with this one too. But the very first thing you need to do is, I hope you know what you're doing. That's the first part, because a lot of times people want to market what they don't have, and they fall into a big trap. So yes, the first thing you need to do.
Yes, just to add, I just saw that the person also wrote that they have a basic knowledge in research and development, and wondering if that can help out, or if that's a different thing entirely.
The marketing. Yes, that is very, very big. I mean, I know a lot of people who have transitioned from user research into product management. In fact, it is one of the smoothest ways to even transition. You can talk about the effect of your research on product development. You can talk about the impact that your research has caused in your particular company. You can write about user research. Like, a bulk of our work is user research, whether we like it or not as product managers. You're either getting feedback from your customers, you're getting feedback from your teammates, you're getting feedback from the people, your managers, people on top. They're telling you, oh, do this, change this, do this. Your customers are also talking back to you. Everything still falls under research, like surveys that you do, quantitative and qualitative research. So if you have a research background, that is you are in a very soft, great place. Just start thinking of the things that you can actually provide to people who need those services. So individuals who need product managers to work on individual projects for them, companies who need product managers, show them how you have a research background and how that research background can help you be a great product manager. When they search for you online, they should be able to see things that you've written about. Things, when they read those things, they can actually get value from it. So now, coming to the marketing part, when you have those things down, you can now start talking more. Messi said something about like putting yourself out there, but I'm just going to maybe stress on it a bit. You have to talk more about it. If you choose a platform and say LinkedIn is your platform, because some people have different platforms for marketing themselves. Some people choose LinkedIn, some people choose Twitter. But some people say, oh, Twitter is for where they used to drag people, so I want to come to LinkedIn. That's fine. You say LinkedIn is your platform. Okay, today's day one. I'm so glad I came to Tech for Dev event. Everything was awesome. I am going to be the best researcher so has ever seen. Full stop. The next day, you're telling people what you're learning. When you learn things, don't just learn and say, this thing is very insightful. Talk about it and put these points and say, these are the things that I learned from this particular thing. I went to a conference with somebody. I made a post about the conference. Another person wrote an article about the conference. I was like, Did we go to the same conference? And we sat beside each other. So that is somebody who is like putting herself out there to tell people that I didn't just go for this conference. These are the specific things that I did. And this is how it's going to affect me as a product manager. And this is how it's going to make me a great product manager because of this event that I attended. Everyone has different paths to different things. And if you've decided today that you want to market yourself, you want to put yourself out there, you have to be very conscious about it. You can even give yourself like specific frequency. Every week or every 2 days or every 3 days, I must post. There's some people who started posting. Nobody was liking their post. Nobody was posting, but they continue. You have to also be consistent with the marketing that you're doing. So you post today, nobody liked you. Say, nobody liked my post. Let me delete it. Or I don't want to do it again. You don't have to give up. You actually have to be consistent and continue. You read something on research and it makes a lot of sense. You see how it connects to product management. You talk about it. You even maybe start a poll and say, oh, when you do research, do you like user surveys or do you do focus group? Which one do you guys like doing? It will start a conversation. You can start again and say, product managers versus this. Come up with content. I mean, we have a lot of AI tools that can help you with content ideas. Refine those content ideas and you would have content from today down till December. Put yourself out there and talk about the work that you do. And like I said at the beginning, when people now find you, they should be able to find the value that you bring, because people will actually find you. They will come to your page or they will come to see what you have to offer. And when they come there, they should be able to see things. Maybe you have a portfolio or you have something that is on your page that you've done, things that you've written, maybe blogs. Medium is a blog you can start using if you don't have access to other kind of writing blogs, but have things that people can actually like point out to. And then also have things that people can use to maybe refer you or recommend you. Maybe something like your website. If you don't even have a website, you can just do a normal Notion template kind of portfolio where you can send to people. But yeah, you have to start somewhere, write down the plan and say, okay, I am on so number of followers now. I want to get so number of followers. These are the kind of content that I want to put out. I want to write more articles. I want to talk more about research. I want to do this. I want to do that. But yeah, you have to shout on the rooftop about the things that you do, how very great you are, how awesome you are, and then your learning processes, especially at your learning stage. If you're at the learning stage, you need to tell us that I'm learning and these are the things that I'm learning. Before our very eyes, we know certain people that we've watched grow from when they transitioned to where they are now. We've seen their growth because they've taken us along the journey. They showed us when they were learning introduction to software engineering, and now they are maybe senior software engineer, but we know where they started from because they took us through their journey and showed us everything they were learning. And if you learn something and it was insightful to you, you share. You say, oh, I found this thing insightful. It's a very great resource for people that are doing this and doing that. I think you guys should read it and let us know what you think about it. That's also content idea.
Thank
So
you
yeah, that's
very much, Princess. That was quite comprehensive. Thank you so very much. Wow. That was a lot. And I know that you must have learned a whole lot. There are quite a number of questions here from Mercy. I have been looking at how I can merge them together and also looking at the clock. So Mercy, there's a question here that asks the difference between software development, software engineer, and backend developer. And also a question about the opportunities for data analysts in the market. I know that you mentioned something about how they started with data. So if you could just please answer those two questions. I can see Elizabeth already typing an answer. Thank you so very much, Elizabeth. I really appreciate that. So over to you, Mercy. Please, 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll answer really quickly. Yeah, there's a difference between software engineering, I think someone mentioned software development, and then backend engineering. So backend is more focused on what would you call it? The underworkings of the systems that people are going to build. So how the services are going to connect, what is going to be used to actually run these things. That's the focus of backend engineering. So it's more specialized. You don't have to worry about any user-facing work. I mean, you have to worry about how you're going to integrate with them, but you don't have to build it as a backend engineer. For software engineering and software development, The differences can be very organization specific or even field specific. In some organizations, like say where I work at, as a software engineer, you're like a little bit more is required from you. It's not just about coding and programming. You would have to understand how you have to understand a bit of systems engineering, architectures, how to actually create technical documents. So you'd have to be a little bit more technical as a software engineer because you're concerned with the end to end of how everything is going to tie. So how is your code going to get deployed? How is it going to scale? While for software development, all of these things can still apply in a different place, to be fair. It just depends on what the company's priorities are and what their capacity and even say the amount of money they have, to be honest. If you have more money, you'll be able to hire more people to take on different roles. But for software development, I hear people saying that they don't have to do some of the things that I do as a software engineer, e.g., they have QA testers test their code. They have DevOps engineers work with them on their teams. I don't have a QA or a DevOps engineer on my team. All the engineers work on everything end to end. And yes, the other question about data analysis opportunities that are available there. There's a lot of opportunity in data analysis because companies, especially people whose products are already out there, you have customers, you have been in market for some time. One thing you would notice is that you start getting a lot of data once you're out there, and most times people who are not like data centric don't really know what to do with this data. So people always need analysts to come extract value from this data. So that helps you learn more about the products, about the customers, and about the direction that the products can take with time. So it's something that I would say there's more demand for as compared to data science. So I was actually a data scientist, but I did data analysis work as well because it was a smaller company and I had to wear a few more hats. But for anyone who is thinking about data analysis versus data science, I would say I feel there are more opportunities for data analysts, especially here in Nigeria, and there's a lower barriers entry as well. Some of the data science roles you'd see required to have a master's degree and some form of degree in data science to show that you actually know what you're doing, because it's actually more technical and scientific because you'd have to know some mathematics, some modeling and things like that. While the barrier to entry for data analysis, in my opinion, is a little bit lower. So you don't have someone gatekeeping you using degrees. So I would say, yeah, you should go down that route if you're already considering it, but not to deter anyone already on data science paths. It's just that you might have to do a bit more work to prove that you can actually do what you're doing. So yeah.
Thank you so very, very much for that, Mercy. That was quite insightful. Thank you so very much. And we'll have one final question for Elizabeth. Then we would take our pictures and then we'll call it a day. So there's a question here that says that for someone who does not have a science background, what is transition like? What are things to start with? What areas should one specialize in? This is more of a generic question. For someone that doesn't have science background, how do they transition into tech?
I think majority of us have mentioned being curious, also asking yourself, why do you want to transition? What is it that you want, right? Being self-aware and just not because it's a trend, our guys are getting money. There was that boom in 2021 or 2020 where everyone was being hired in tech, people are getting big money. Ask yourself the why, be curious. Of course, the rest of the ladies have mentioned, of course, you have to have some transferable skills from your space, from your science space or wherever you are when you're transitioning. So for me, what I can advise you, be curious, also ask yourself why, and be very self-assured and self-aware of why. It's not a trend. Is it a career that you want to extend for maybe 10, 20 years? Is this something that you'll be proud of? So that's what I can urge them to self-evaluate yourself. Hello?
Awesome. Thank you so very much. Yes, hello, Elizabeth.
Can I try and answer this for like
Yes,
in
Saha, please. Yes, definitely. Would love to hear from you as well.
Okay, so I think I'm a good example to help with that particular question. If I told you to check my LinkedIn, I used to be a customer care representative. I used to pick up calls, but with time, I really knew what I wanted, and I also knew what I was really good at. I am a very curious person. I love solving problems. So I remember my first project was the company was launching mobile phones, and it was testing how this can basically work. I don't know if most of you have heard of M-Copper. So I was put on that project to just test the phone, see how it works. And if you're a very curious person and you love to solve problems, because this is a new phone in the market, understanding how it's going to go out for people to test it, people to use it, to see how it works, I grew. And yeah, I started to study different courses. I had mentors. I asked questions. I marketed myself. I spoke highly about myself, but just know what you want, know what you are good at. Just find that particular thing that you know you are really, really good at. And trust me, if you put in the work, you'll be able to just be anything you want. That's it.
Thank you so very much, Saha. Put in the work, know yourself, be curious. I mean, if there's anything that you're going to take home from this webinar is be curious, put yourself out there. Learning does not end. Thank you so very much, Elizabeth, Prince.
Okay, looks like she's frozen in time. I thought it was my network.
No, I think it's her connection.
Saha, this was an amazing call talking about how much they've learned, how great and oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We lost you
Oh,
there for a bit.
oh God, awesome. Thank God. Okay, I was just saying thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Mercy. Thank you, Princess. Thank you, Saha. I mean, I can see quite a number of persons on the call saying thank you. It was such an amazing and enlightening session. And your Princess said some really amazing things about marketing. So this is a webinar that you attended now. You can go on LinkedIn, on Twitter to actually shout about it that, oh, I attended the Women's Techsters Open Day and I learned from Princess. You can tag them. Yes, I put their LinkedIn profiles on chat. You can just tag them and say, I learned. And then, one or two things that specifically stood out for you. You can actually tag them to say, oh, Mercy mentioned this, Elizabeth mentioned this, Saha mentioned this. And, it really stood out, really resonated with me. Well, it's time for pictures. We are way behind schedule, and I sincerely apologize because we'll always try our best to finish by 6. We'll just take 1 or 2 pictures for the gram, and we're out of here. So I'll be promoting some of us to the panelist session. If you are an attendee and you'd like to take some pictures along with the speakers, kindly raise your hand and I will quickly promote you to the panel session. We are doing it very, very quickly. Please, once you are promoted to the panel session, turn your video on. Ensure that you are in a good place where you can actually turn your video on, and then we can take pictures. Very, very quickly, very, very quickly, very, very quickly. I have promoted quite a number of people already. I would like to see you in the panel session. Turn your video on, and then we can take some pictures for the gram. Yes, it's always good to have evidence. So I think I've promoted quite a number of persons now. Okay, if you can, please turn your video on And let's take some pictures. Okay, I can see some people are already here. Okay, I think we are good to go now. Yes, awesome. All right, so I'll be taking the pictures now, and this is one of my favorite parts. Please, if you're on the panel session, kindly turn your videos on so that you know, we can take pictures. So we'll all be saying women in tech on 3, 2, 1, and then with our brightest smile, we'll take the pictures. So we'll say women in tech. So you unmute your mic and then you say women in tech. So are we ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Women in
Tech. Awesome, awesome. Please let's do that once more. Let's do that once more. We're saying women in tech. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Go, women in tech.
Women in tech.
Women in tech.
Awesome. Thank you so very, very much. Apologies once again for overshooting our time. Thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Mercy. Thank you so, so much. It's goodbye from this end. Thank you so very, very much for joining this session. And we are thrilled to have learned so, so much from you. Thank you, ladies, also for staying till this you know, for staying till this time of the call.
Why do they stay?
Okay, thank you so very much, ladies, for staying once again till this time. I'm pretty sure you learned a whole lot. Thank you, Princess. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Saha. Thank you, Mercy. Let us have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Goodbye from this end. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye. Please make sure you connect with all of our speakers on LinkedIn. Connect. Bye, everybody.
Bye.